Okay guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about how to use Screencast-O-Matic along with OneNote and how to publish this to YouTube. So an example where you might use this is if you are giving a lecture, steps on a computer, some how-tos, and you'd be able to show people exactly what you want to do with that. As you can see, the beginning of this, I've got my screen recording in here. I found that helpful with my classes because then the kids can connect your face to your voice. That way they can see kind of who's talking to them. It makes that connection that you have with them. So an example where I would have done this, I'm actually going to be using this pen along with a Bamboo tablet or Intuos touchscreen. This goes on here and it's going to allow me to write on my screen without having to use the actual tablet part of it. This would work for any laptop, so you don't have to have a tablet PC or anything like that. So with OneNote, you have a lot of different options. It's important that you want to be able to see this, so I'm going to go ahead and pick something a little thicker. An example where I would use this pretty often is it's very easy when I was teaching math to go ahead and do some of these. So I would want to, for instance, show my class how to graph something pretty easy. And now that we're able to see what I'm writing, and I can highlight things if I need to. So I'm going to start, like if I was graphing this back in Algebra 1, we would say, okay, I'm going to identify my y-intercept first. That's going to tell me my y-intercept is at 0, 1, and then I can go ahead and plot that on the screen. It's a little touchy, you got to make sure you got that. Then I could say, all right, my next part, I'm going to have my slope of 2, which I'm going to write as, for my kids, 2 over 1, so they can kind of talk about that as rise over run. You can see you can do a lot of representations on one screen. So from my dot I already made, I'm going to go up 2 and over 1, and I'm going to continue that pattern, and you can see that's going to create that straight line. You can put straight lines in, which I would recommend if you're doing this, and you would be able to kind of snap it to the grid there. And then I've got an equation. I've got that there, and I can also look at, okay, what would this look like on a chart? If I was looking at these points, I could label them on here so the kids could see that representation. So like -3, -5. Could transfer to the chart and have that. I could have some other points like -1, -1. And you could put whatever points you wanted on there. And then if I was looking at that one, like 2, 5. So we have 3 representations here, visually with a chart, algebraically with an equation, I said chart before, that should be graph. So I can go ahead and there's a way to erase with these things too, so that makes it helpful. So I screw up, I go back and say, okay, here's my graph, my equation, and my chart, and they all show the same thing. So what I would do at this point is I would go ahead and stop my recording by hitting pause down here in the corner.